Hey there, welcome back to the Ja Live channel. I'm of course Ja, and we are working toward the 100 live guitar practice streams, and today makes day 87. So thank you all so much for joining the journey. I greatly appreciate that. As always, I like to invite you to also, not just watch the video and just listen in or whatever, but truly pick up your guitar or get out a notepad or what have you, and follow along, mindfully, right? Learn some tips, learn some practice exercises that I like to try to, demonstrate and pass along. And ultimately, it's all about just having fun, right? There really is no destination, as Russ would say. You know, it's just about enjoying the long journey, ups and downs and winds and bends and turns to get to that destination, right? Now there really is no destination, because once you get there, there's always something more. You get that degree, well, there's still something more to learn. You get that salary, well, there's still more money to be made. You learn that skill on guitar, well, there's other skills also to be learned as well. So there really is no destination. It's just a constant journey through life, right? So it's all about having fun while doing it. If you can't have fun during the journey, then you're kind of have the wrong mindset to begin with. So hopefully we can just have some fun, right? And let's just see how good we can actually, get at the end of the 100 days, at the end of the challenge. So as always, I challenge you as well, whether it's with YouTube, making videos, whether it's with guitar or some instrument, or whatever the challenge might be, exercise, reading books, whatever it might be, showing more love and more empathy towards people, whatever it might be, challenge yourself. I promise at the end of the challenge, you'll be more satisfied internally with yourself. So, but anyways, let's go ahead and get into it. If you're into, music, learning guitar, things like that, I'd appreciate the subscribe. You can click on this little icon over here in the corner. And as you can tell by the thumbnail and the title today, we'll be getting into some bending, and then also trying to, play around in that pentatonic scale some more. Just, again, repetition, repetition, repetition. There is no secret to it. So I'm sure you guys have maybe seen some other thumbnails or titles that might talk about bending or might talk about the pentatonic scale. I highly recommend you check those out, because the practice exercises that I do in those videos compared to what I'm about to do here in this video, could be different. So please check those out. Another thing, just real quick before I get started, is the pinned comment section below. Not the details of the video, but the pinned comment. That's where I usually put all of my notes. So whatever I'm talking about for the hour-long session, those notes can be found down in the pinned comment, right? Since these are live recordings, I'm not doing, cool graphics and transitions and, editing and things like that. Just straight raw recording, so that way I can learn YouTube, so that way I can try to learn this instrument and bond with it. But so there's videos to come later with, cool edits and graphics and transitions and words popping on the screens and things like that. I'm working on my editing skills as well. So I got a couple side projects, but right now I'm just trying to get through this guitar challenge first and foremost. So I also, now that it's, middle of June, I have one more class to go until I finish up. I walked for the ceremony back in May, but that's just, symbolically walking. I still have one more class to complete. It starts this week and it ends in August. So got a little bit more on my plate right now, but shouldn't be any big deal, right? I can balance multiple things all at once. So, but anyways, let's go ahead and get into it. We're here to learn how to bend. So bending is one of the more, at least for me, more difficult things that I've been trying to learn with the guitar. So just want to make pretty much an entire video on bending. I want to start with just getting the fundamentals with each finger and kind of warming things up. And then once we've kind of warmed things up, just all over on various notes and, all over the neck, then I would like to, do the second half of the video. I'd like to do some bending, but try to do the bending within the pentatonic scale, right? Rather than just bending any note. Now try to be in the patterns of the pentatonic scale. So let me just stretch out my fingers here real quick, my wrists. Turn on my little tuner back here, this little black thing that just kind of sits on the end of my guitar. It's a tuner. If I was to pluck some strings, can you see it turning on? Oh, here we go. See it lighten up? So that's how I just make sure everything's in tune before I get playing. Make sure it didn't kind of go out of tune while it's hanging on the wall or we go. All right. So to bend, basically what I'm going to do is pluck. Let's go, for example, on the 7th fret. Okay. First string, this high E string, this B note here. So basically I want to pluck a note and then go to the lower note, the one, right below it, and play that. But I need to play it with a bend in it. So I play this note to try to sonically understand what is that pitch, what is that sound sounding like. And then I go to the note just below it and bend it just a little bit to see if it sounds the same. See how it's kind of sounding the same? If I don't bend it at all, listen. You can definitely hear a difference in pitch, but if I try to bend it just a little bit, don't have to bend it a whole lot because it's only a half step away. It's only 1 fret away. If it was a whole step away, I'd have to bend it a little bit more. If it was, a step and a half away, a tone and a half, 2 frets away, I'd have to bend it a little more. If it was 4 or 5 frets away, I'd really have to bend that. And so okay, so that's basically what bending is. You try to bend the lower note until it reaches the higher note that you are trying to, mimic or duplicate. See, it's pretty much sounding the same, so just training my ear. Advantages also, just a quick little rule of thumb. The strings 1, 2, and 3, you would bend them this direction and towards the middle of the neck of the guitar. Strings 4, 5, and 6, the thicker strings, you'd bend them this direction, typically, right? It's just a rule of thumb. All rules are, as I say, meant to be broken. So the strings 4, 5, and 6 are typically bent this way. So because, think about it, if you're trying to bend this high E string and you bend it this direction, you'll fall off the neck of the guitar. If you try to bend the low E string and you bend it, going this direction, you'll push it off the neck of the guitar. This low or high E string, if you bend that down, it'll fall off the neck of the guitar. So again, strings 1, 2, and 3, bend them this direction. Strings 4, 5, and 6, bend them this direction. So it also doesn't matter which direction really that you bend. If you bend, a string up, or if you bend a string down, when I first started this, I was like, would that make a different pitch? No, it does not. So just, keep that in mind. It doesn't matter if you do bend up or down. Like I said, it's just a rule of thumb. Sometimes you will bend a lower string this direction, or you'll bend a higher string that direction, at times. And no, it will not make a different pitch. If you bend up or down, it'll make the same pitch. It just depends on how far you bend. So also with the bending, my technique isn't that great yet. I understand what to do. I'm just trying to figure out how to do it properly, right? So when you're bending, it's not a pushing and a pulling with the fingers. It's more of a like turning doorknob, turning your wrist type of motion. So yeah, just keep that in mind. You're trying not to really push and pull, and you're also not trying to push and pull with only one finger. I was doing it trying to, use just my middle finger like this. And sure, that just bent. Sure, I'm sure you heard a bend there. But really, what you should do is have the trailing finger down so that way it can help support the bend. Or if you have 3 or 4 fingers, if you're trying to. So see, these trailing fingers should be there for support to really help push, because sometimes you need a little bit more strength. One finger can't do it. And even if one finger could do it, you need to just get in the habit of having these trailing fingers down, just because it's a better technique. It's there for support, to bend the strings. They're there for support to mute the strings. They're there for various things. So it's better to kind of work with the proper technique from the beginning, rather than doing something improper for 6 months, 6 years, or whatever, and realizing that you're doing it wrong the whole time and kind of have to recalibrate yourself. When you're a beginner, it's kind of easy to change things, but once you're kind of set in your ways, like they say, it's kind of hard to teach an old dog new tricks. So that's basically all we're working on here today. Just kind of trying to understand these bends. So I'm gonna start with my pinky actually down here on the 12th fret. I'm gonna pluck the 12th fret, then I'm gonna go to the 11th fret with my ring finger, while my middle finger and my index finger are down as well on that first string, because we're going to bend all 3 of those together to try to match whatever the pinky note is. I'm going to work my way up each of the strings, so that way I can just get some very basic fundamental practice technique with these bends, right? I'm not trying to play songs here. I'm not trying to sound beautiful here. I'm working on my ear training, more or less. That's what this exercise is about. So, because if you're bending and you're not bending, to the proper note, and you're just kind of bending, well, maybe you intended to bend a whole step and you're only bending a half step, or maybe you intended to bend a whole step, but you're bending, 1.5 steps, right? You need to be accurate with that bend. How much do you really need to push or pull to get the sound that you want? So. Yeah, I'll talk about that in a second. Just play for a minute. Let me wipe my hands off. I just showered a little bit ago, obviously, right? And well, probably not obviously. I don't know how you guys would have known that, but every time I get out of the shower, I put lotions on my hands, right? I like to have soft hands. Well, I think there's a little bit too much lotion on these fingers or something. Just guitar don't feel right. Strings don't feel right. I know I'm not that great at bending, just yet, but shouldn't feel like that. Felt a little funky. All right, get off of my fingers. All right, here we go. Okay, so that was climbing up the high E string using the pinky as the note that we're trying to mimic, right? We play that note a couple times, and then using the other three fingers, we try to bend to match that note. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do it on the second string. Right? If I don't bend it at all, listen what it sounds like. Quite different, right? But if we bend it, it should sound the exact same. But as I'm learning, it might be close. I might need to bend a little more. I might need to bend a little less. I'm trying to calibrate and fine tune the hand and how much it has to, push or pull versus, what my ear is hearing. Is it matching that tone? Is it too sharp, too flat, just perfect? Again, this bending stuff might seem boring. I know I'm not getting on here for an hour and shredding and impressing people, but I hope I'm teaching somebody something, and I hope that you guys are learning with me, right? So you hear that want, that descend bend? From what I'm understanding, being self-taught and watching other YouTubers and things like that, is you should hear the bend up, or you should hear the bend matching the note, but you don't want to hear that descend bend. So I'm not that good yet at muting the strings. You want to bend it up, and then you want to mute it back down. Bend it up, mute it back down. Bend it up, mute it back down. Bend it up to match that note, mute it back down. Bend it up to match that note, bend it back down, or mute it back down. You don't want to hear the bend coming back down. A lot of times you'll hear my bend go up, and you'll hear my bend go down. You'll hear my bend go up, and you'll hear my bend come down. Well, really, I guess that's improperly playing. Well, I shouldn't even say that. I guess for a lot of scenarios, I guess a lot of people don't prefer that, but I'm sure there's lots of ways to make that very beautiful and really make that music. But I do understand that a lot of guitarists actually mute that bend coming down as well. So. All right, so that's the second string. Now let's go to the third string. Instead of using the pinky as the note that we're trying to mimic, we want to get a little bit of practice in bending with all the different fingers, right? So now let's bend third string, 12th fret. Put your ring finger there. That's a G note. And then you'll use the trailing two fingers, the middle and the index, to bend and try to find that note. That's the 3rd string. Let's bring it back down to the 12th fret. Ring finger on the 4th string this time. That's a D note. So now we're using again the ring finger to play the note that we want to match. Then we use the middle finger and the index finger as the 2 fingers to kind of help bend the string to match whatever the ring finger is playing. So if I don't bend, it sounds like this. Quite different. But now I'm trying to bend to match that note. Okay. Trying to bend there on the 4th string. Now let's bring it back to the 12th fret on the 5th string this time, right? We want to work each string. We also want to work each finger. So now that we're on the 5th string, rather than use the pinky like we did on strings 1 and 2, or the ring finger on strings 3 and 4, now that we're on strings 5 and 6, we'll use the middle finger here to play the note. And then the index finger by itself, no obviously trailing fingers to support it, will have to bend the string all on its own. But remember, now that we're on strings 5 and 6, rather than bending and pushing this way and possibly falling off the neck of the guitar, we want to bend the string this direction towards the center of the neck of the guitar. So that way there's really no chance of it falling off. So now we're using our middle finger to find the note that we want to mimic. And then we use our index finger to pull the string until it matches that note. So again. I'm just doing half step bends here. Every time I've been doing all of this so far, this whole video has been half step bends. Again, if you wanted to do a whole step bend, you'd really have to push or pull that string even more. If you wanted to do, a step and a half type of bend, you really wanted some, distance in between those sound pitches, you'd have to bend and pull even more, right? The more you push, the more you pull, the, more frets you're kind of trying to mimic. More frets away you're trying to mimic. So since I'm just doing, the note right next to it, it doesn't take a whole lot of bending. But let's say I wanted to mimic, this A here, but I wanted to do it 4 or 5 frets away, I'd have to really, 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 really bend that. So again, these are all just kind of half-step bends, just trying to get used to, bending at all, right? Just getting that mechanics, that motion. Sometimes I hear it's like, that's not right. There we go. All right, that's the 5th string. Again, let's wrap it back around to the 12th fret. 6th string this time. We want to make sure we get all the strings. That way we can kind of feel what it's like to bend a really thick, low E string versus what it's like to bend a thinner, high E string or a thinner 2nd string, right? They're all going to feel a little bit different. They're all different gauges. So the strings are going to be different gauges, and depending on what finger you're using, you might be more comfortable with a certain finger to bend. But really, we want to try to get comfortable with, bending using all of our fingers. So. All right, there we go. A little bit of bending just to kind of warm up all the fingers, practice a little bit on all the different strings, things like that. So now that we're kind of warmed up with our fingers a little bit, kind of understand what we're doing a little bit, we're going to transition into another part of the video. But just real quick, since we're about at the halfway mark, I'm going to go ahead and get my little shameless plugs in real quick. There's an icon over here in the corner. You can go ahead and click on that icon and quickly subscribe to my channel. That would be a blessing. I would greatly appreciate that. As I see my subscribers climbing, that means, I'm putting stuff out there that people are liking to watch, people are enjoying. So I really hope that, I can help another beginner, understand this instrument a little bit more and have a little bit of passion for it. So I'd appreciate the subscribe. Also, if you have any comments of your own, please leave those down in the comment section, right? You can hang out down there after this video. Leave me some comments. What do you think of the visuals? What do you think of the sound? What do you think of, whatever the practice session I'm talking about for that day? If I'm talking about, for example, today I'm talking about bending, and now we're about to get into some pentatonic scales. Hey, if you have some, comments on the on bending or comments on the pentatonic scale, I'd love to hear your thoughts, right? That's why we're kind of here, so that way we can kind of help each other, learn and grow and evolve. So I appreciate seeing some comments down below. I'm sure to read them all. I'm sure to respond to them all. So I'd greatly appreciate that. Also, if you could smash the like button, that would be a blessing. Thank you so much in advance. Now, let's get back to the real reason we're here, and that is to learn how to play this instrument. All right, so now we're going to get into some pentatonic scale. So again, let me just kind of run through the pentatonic scale just real quick, just to kind of remember what the patterns are. Okay, that's the pentatonic scales. A couple different positions. I guess there's technically is one here as well. All right, so that's the pentatonic scales. And now, rather than just running the scales and sounding really boring and things like that, I want to practice the pentatonic scale, but I want to be mindful of, doing a bend every now and then. I don't have to do a bend every single note. I don't have to do a bend every second or third note, but every now and then when I'm feeling like it's right, try to throw in a bend, see what it sounds like, see if it sounds good, see if it sounds bad, and yeah, let's just play around with some bending, but within the pentatonic scale. But first, let me just get a little sip of tea. Love this cup. Very good way to be, right? Just, show love to everybody. It doesn't matter what their gender is. It doesn't matter what their, religions are. It doesn't matter what their age is. It doesn't matter what, ethnicity they are, or what race, what culture. It doesn't matter. Show love to everybody, right? I like to kind of think that, love is my religion, music is my religion, things like that. So anyways, just thought that's it's a really nice cup that we have there. So I just thought I'd show that to the camera. Anyways, let's play around with the pentatonic scale, working on some bends. My bends suck. I can openly admit that. I don't know what I'm doing. It's a big bend when it's 3 frets away. This is terrible. I need some other bending exercises or some practice techniques or whatever. I need to watch more videos, clearly. If you understand some bending, I'd appreciate you leaving some comments down below so that way you can kind of help me out with, this bending technique, because I'm clearly struggling. But hey, that's what it takes, right? You just got to rep it out and figure it out and kind of learn through failing. A lot of people think that failing is bad and, no, it just has a poor connotation because failing a lot comes along in the school system, right? And if you fail in the school system, if you get an F, you have to repeat the grade, repeat the class, whatever it might be. All your peers and things look at you as dumb. So failing is kind of looked at as a bad thing, but really it takes failing to, understand what you did wrong and to learn from that and to grow from that. So I'm just going to keep on practicing these bends, failing at these bends until I get it right. So. See, I clearly, in the first half of the video, I clearly explained kind of what to do, right? I understand what to do. Now I just got to figure out and calibrate how to do it properly and accurately each and every time. So that's the hard part. That's the part that takes, hundreds and thousands of repetitions. So, just because you learn, what to do kind of doesn't mean you know how to do it precisely time and time again. So that's where all the repetition comes in, right? Not doing chords today, buddy. We are doing pentatonic scale and bending. It's all good. It's all good. Again, just working on the pentatonic scale, trying to bend, seeing if we can, every now and then, doesn't have to be every single note or every other note, but when it feels right, when it feels comfortable, try to throw in a bend. See, what it sounds like, what it feels like. Did it feel awkward with your hand? Did it sound wrong with the ear? Which, if if you were trying to go up a whole step, if you were trying to go up a step and a half, did it sound right? So just trying to get familiar with these bends. And sometimes when I release, I pluck other strings also. Obviously when you're coming back down, you shouldn't be plucking other strings. So I've got quite a bit to work on with these bends here. I'm starting to get pretty good in the pentatonic scale. I wouldn't say I can freestyle and sound beautiful, but I understand what finger needs to go where and what notes need to be played and things like that. So All right. I need a lot more working on my bends, and I'll be doing that offline, and be making some more videos about these. But yeah, I need a lot of work with them. That's going to be a wrap for today's session. That's 87 hours in the books, 87 videos, So thank you all so much for joining the journey. I hope you're learning some things as well by following me. I hope you're learning some tips, some exercises, and things like that you can pull into your daily practice exercises, practice routine. So thank you all so much again. Greatly appreciate it. If you hit the subscribe button in the corner, if you're interested in learning guitar or all things music, or if you go to my channel and you see the banner at the top, kind of gives a little bit of foreshadowing about some edits and things that I'm working on with some other types of videos and documentaries and things to be putting out there. So I'd appreciate the subscribe. Also, if you could leave a comment below on what you think about guitar, what you think about today's practice session, or if you could give me some tips on bending, I would greatly appreciate it. I clearly need it. So I'm sure to read all of them, and I'm sure to respond. So looking forward to meeting some people in the comment section. Also, just smash that like button for your friend. Might as well, right? All the time, effort, energy, courage, things like that goes into this. I'd appreciate it, if you could just smash that like button. Also, share the video. If you have other people trying to learn guitar, maybe show them my videos. Maybe it could help them. Maybe a light bulb will go off, in their head, and they'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, I see. So yeah, please share my videos. Also, last but not least, there's probably some floating videos on the screen now. Here's the entire catalog, and here's the subsequent video in the series. So please check those out to continue supporting me and the channel. Other than that, until next time, take care of yourselves, because when you take care of yourselves, it's easier to take care of everybody else. So peace out, and I love you. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Peace.